I learned from an early age that I keep everybody here. You are here. And I'm assuming that you're going to be disloyal. I'm assuming you're going to try to screw me. I'm assuming all that. So if you don't, then we're good.
Jim Breuer.
Jim Breuer.
Jim Breuer.
Jim Breuer.
Jim Breuer.
Hey, this is Jim Breuer.
So today, I just want to introduce a guest that I've been dying to talk to for a really long time, especially more of his personal life. I mean, his career is a whole different story. I'll let him get into that. But his personal life is what always intrigued me. And now I saw that he moved to Florida. And I feel like he spoke out on a couple issues that really got my attention. I was so, especially during a time where people were against anyone speaking for morality or what they thought was right. And I always thought that this guy was one of those guys, which made me respect him and love him even more. So without further ado, let's get into the family man, what I consider a great human being, incredible actor, Mr. Scott Baio. What's up, dude? It's so obnoxious that you're that much, that you're just still a good-looking guy. It's so
It is obnoxious. I get it. I get it. Although I got the gray working now, Jim. I got
I do see that, and usually I assume you're all Italian. Usually Italians get it by the time they're 15. My friend Phil Calora, he was 22, 23, and he was all gray. It's Italian to me. I'm like,
gray or bald? Gray or bald?
Gray. He's gray. We don't have. I have
Italian men go gray.
It's either
or bald.
gray or it goes bald. Exactly, one or the other. How is before we even get into it? How's home life? Everyone good and in your life circle? Everything good in the Baio world?
We got hit by the hurricane here a little bit, and just putting stuff back together. But it's still beautiful. And,
it is.
It's a wonderful place to be. But yeah, we're good. My wife is good. She's got some issues, but she's okay. My daughter is wonderful.
That's good, because I don't know how much you wanted to elaborate, but I remember hearing something with your wife, and that always, I've always had issues with my wife, with cancer, and
I thought you said you had issues with your wife. Yeah, I
do have issues with my wife. I still got issues with my wife.
But your wife had cancer. Your wife had cancer?
Yeah. We had multiple times. It was once, and then it's gone. Then it came back, and it's worse. And then it went gone, and then it came back, and she's not going to live. And then then she went on a trial. But long story short, we're in a good place right now, so that's good. Sure. Now, which is always a tough issue, because you go through all those battles, but you still go through that you're a pain in my ass syndrome, and you drive me crazy, but I'm not allowed to feel those emotions because you went through all that. We'll just leave it as that. That's
beautifully put.
Exactly. So I'll start with, you've been in the game forever. For those of you who live in a hole, through my whole life, you've been in my life on television, even the whole through. From Happy Days on. Yeah, how scary is it, Scott, when here we are and we you grow up and you're on shows, and at that time they're so big, no matter what you went into, the Charles in Charge, and now you hit different generations, and they don't have a clue. Like, just they don't. They're like, what? What's what's Happy Days? You're like,
I
oh,
know. I know. I
oh,
know.
that hurts.
I know.
Charles in Charge.
You know,
Oh,
there's a break in the age. I think probably like mid late 30s. If you're above that number,
yeah,
I'm huge.
yeah,
If you're below that
yes.
number, not a clue.
It-
Not a
it-
clue.
a
And
a
and and
hundred.
and, and it's kind of weird, Jim, because you know, a mother will come up to me and see, and it's wonderful. Oh my God, and this and that, and then the kid is there, and now she's got to tell the kid all my credits, and I'm standing there like an idiot. And I'm, yeah, I did some work, and the kid's like, I don't know, is it on TikTok, and I'm like, no, your mother knows who I am, and that's good enough for me. I've actually declined. I said it to the kid. It's okay. You don't have to take a picture. Go stand over there. I'll take a picture with your mother because you're going to
That's
show
what
this
I
to your
do.
friends. Yeah, your friends are going to go, "Who the hell is this guy?" And
Exactly.
we're good. We're good. So I don't want to
Exactly.
because the kid is mortified. He doesn't want to stand next to a complete stranger. The wife, the
Right.
mother, does. So we're good.
It's all good. So how did you? I feel like in the Hollywood world, and just if I'm speaking out my, I wasn't in it like you were. Like I just sitcom here, where I'm development, then SNL, and one little film here, and then I walked away. Did you ever come across anything that made you extremely uneasy in that world? Because I feel like you were more in the trenches, but you were never part of a lot of things that are starting to come out now.
I'm well. I'm going to tell you something really. You might not believe it, Jim. I really never saw any of it. I was, people say, oh, you were in the 80s and all the drugs and all. I said, guys, I never did any drug. Um, uh, um, I never saw it. I would see guys smoking pot, but I never saw cocaine. I never saw it. And I was out. I was out with my buddies, hanging out, go to parties at homes, and I never saw, either I was oblivious to it or it was so hidden back then that it was just not. It was I never saw it. So
Yeah.
what I did what really here's what I did, Jim. I learned from a very early age that in the business, and maybe it's me growing up in New York too. I don't know, but I learned from an early age that I keep everybody here. You are
Right.
here, and
Right.
I'm assuming that you're going to be disloyal. I'm assuming you're going to try to screw me. I'm assuming all that. So if you don't, then we're good, right? So
Right.
that's how I've, whether it's a good way to live your life or a bad way to live your life, it's just the way that I've lived my life. I trust very few people, and so I love my wife. My wife is and I tell her she's the rightest person I know. In other words, she always wants to do the right thing by people, right?
Yep.
And inevitably, and she's not looking for reciprocation, but somebody will just burn her. And I say,
Mm.
you can't burn me because I'm assuming I'm assuming you're gonna do it. So if I
Right.
do you a favor, I'm out. It's like borrowing money, Jim. You want
Yes.
money? Here's a gift. Goodbye. Same thing.
I think we come from the same slice of pie.
Yeah,
I've been
where are
that.
you from? Where are you from?
I grew up in Long Island. I
Oh
grew
no,
up
where about? Where?
Valley Stream, Long
Oh my
Island.
God, you're kidding me. I
No.
got buddies. Buddies from Valley Stream, from Lawrence, from
Oh,
Ronkonkoma.
yes.
I got a bunch of guys that I knew in L.A. And now one of them is in Vegas. But I got a bunch of my L.A. buddies were all New York guys.
I managed to do that too my whole life. Even if I was getting hired for something or a sitcom or something, I'd always bring the friends that I grew up with to stand around me because they would always sniff out everything.
Yeah.
And anytime I started getting a little like, whoa, Jimbo's got shoes. Whoa, we're wearing nice shoes. We're hanging out the guy with the funky glasses. They would always bring it right back to exactly where we
Yeah.
grew up. They made it so normal, and I always thank God uh,
Yeah.
for having that street smarts and having those.
Absolutely.
I still have them. I still have them.
Absolutely. But getting back to your question, Jim, yeah, my brother and sister, by the way, so cool about whatever I did. They couldn't give two rats about what I did for a living. My brother
Right.
would still smack me around. My big sister, I was still her idiot brother. But I avoided I just avoided it all. And you know, you were on Saturday Night Live. I don't even know what that world was like. That looked just insane to me. But you know, Happy Days was like a picnic in the
Yeah.
park, and Charles in Charge was like just a party, but not like a crazy party. Just people having fun, and we did a show, and it got done. And then next week we'd be throwing fruit at each other and whatever the hell it was, and it was just fun. And then I went on to different shows, and I always sort of brought that vibe, I guess, to the shows that I would do, because if it wasn't fun for me, I didn't see the point in it.
Right. See, you mentioned your wife too. My wife too was so uninterested in that world that sometimes it drove me nuts. And what I mean by that too, she was a great balance, and is still a great balance. So in other words, I remember Saturday Night Live. I was that place. It was phenomenal, but it was also
Yeah,
a
I get
lot
it.
for
Yeah,
yeah. So I'm trying to stay a morally good person, and I'd come home like this guy, this mother, and this one stole, and this one that likes humping 17-year-old men, and nobody knows. What am I surrounded by? And I remember her going, well, why don't you quit? And like, seriously, is there something wrong with you? Is there something you don't quit? And it was my last year, and she would say things like, you said any job that was ever going to make you miserable, you would never stay there. Your life was about keeping an upbeat attitude and always being a good person and blah. Look at you. You come home, you're smoking pot nonstop. You're bitching and moaning about this one. What's keeping you there? Like, our 27th floor New York apartment? Hanging out with my favorite rock stars? Like, what do you mean? What's keeping me here? But it thank God now, as I look back on so many things and keeping everyone together, I thank God I stayed on that trip. I wasn't meant for it. I wasn't meant.
really interesting.
I truly feel anytime I'd start tasting it, I could see myself going full blown leather pants, kangaroo. It would have been on like Donkey Kong.
I wore leather pants once. I swear to God, I put them on. I looked in the mirror and I said, "You're a moron.
Yeah.
Take your pants off. This is not who you are." And what was it, $300 back then I paid for these stupid leather pants. And I was like, okay, I can't. And then all the other stupid clothes that you buy. But yeah, I mean, you know what's interesting about what you said, and I've been doing a lot of this lately, is I do this one-man show, Jim, and I haven't done it in a while.
Yeah, I want to talk about this.
But the show is called How Did I Get Here? And I find that to be fascinating in everybody's life. How did you get to where you are right now? How did you get to doing this show? How did I get to be talking to you? And then you look back, and I got it. There's something that I read on a matchbook on the Rocks bar on Sunset Boulevard. You ever been there?
On the Rocks, long time.
Above the Roxy Theater. I was sitting there with a buddy of mine, and there was a matchbook on the and I'll never forget this. And I smoked cigarettes back then once in a while, but I opened the matchbook and it said, "Life is short but very wide."
Mm.
And I went,
Mm.
"Wow, that's pretty profound coming off a book of matches." So you think about the things you just said, all the people you worked with. You didn't think about it in the moment. You just did it, right? And then you look back and you go, "Holy crap! Did I get through that? Did I do that?" You know,
Right.
I mean, I have no ego anymore. My daughter beat it out of me, and my wife. But
I'm right with you.
I'll go on the internet sometimes, and I'll Google. I'll just put my name in, and a show will come up, and I don't know what the show is. I have no recollection of it. And I go, well, when did I do that? Right.
Right.
So we're as somebody in the entertainment business, I found that I was always, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? What am I doing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? And you forget about what you're doing in the moment. What's the next thing?
Yeah.
And you don't really enjoy what's going on. And that's I mean, it's because we're so insecure. It's such an insecure business. You know, you don't know when the next job is coming. You know, if you told me here's a series for 10 years, I'd say that's great. Well, what am I doing? What do I do in the 11th year? What do I do after that? Right. So I enjoy now. I try to tell my daughter, and she'll see stuff on television. She'll Google me and see shows that I've done. I try to tell her about life and that stuff, and it's hard. You know,
It is hard.
She's 17 and she doesn't care, but she loves me. I know.
And that's all they care about. They just care the dad. They don't care. We were watching, I don't know, the 50th anniversary of Saturday Night Live is coming. And I'm like, I don't. And they, for the first time ever, my middle daughter is scanning through the years I'm on, and she's like, wow, that's weird. Like, you were actually there. And I found myself just watching too. And I'm like, yeah, but I think we reach a point where, just like you said, the ego's gone. My ego left a long time ago. A long, long time ago. And what you said is so true. Everywhere I was always looking at, well, Saturday Night Live will lead to the movies. And the movies will lead to this, and then that will. I remember being on a radio. You know, I left everything once I left everything. I wanted to be around from my girls growing up. And I took XM radio as it was just starting. Like, Howard Stern was the big thing.
Right.
And I went over there, and we had a great show. We were the afternoon drive. And I remember another comedian who's passed on since then. Great guy. Didn't become a big name.
Who?
But he, Richard Jenny.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. He's a friend of mine. What a shame. What a shame.
I thought he was hands down one of the unknown greatest comedians. I've never seen a comedian, because I saw him live when I was just starting, and I said I gotta see Richard Jenny in person. I sat right in the front row. He would take a premise and just stretch it out in every direction. Every time I thought he was finished with it, he'd take it to another level. He's probably one of the only comedians that I could honestly say I couldn't breathe. Like, it's hard to make me laugh to the point where I couldn't breathe. He would make it where I couldn't breathe. Well, and I'd always follow his career, and he came on my radio show, and I'll never forget this. I'm excited he's there. I'm like, yeah, Richard, blah, blah, blah. And I started talking about what I want to do and how I want to become blah, blah, blah. And and this was before he, unfortunately, he looks at me, he goes, wow, the guy with his own radio show always needs more. Huh. and I just it's a moment that I hear as an echo over and over and over. And he taught me so much in that just simple moment. I remember driving home thinking about that statement that he said. And I remember when it was all over, like what a powerful statement. Yeah. And so now here I am, and here you are. What are you passionate about now that's in the entertainment world? I'm assuming it's in the entertainment world that's going to keep you, Scott, like, you know what? I really, because you mentioned the one man show, which I think is a no brainer for someone like you. I love the title of that. And do you plan on touring it at all and going out some more dates? Because
Um, just real quick about Jenny, real quick.
yes, please.
He lived over the hill from me. I lived on Laurel
Oh, all
Canyon,
right. Yeah, Laurel
up in
Canyon.
Mulholland, and he lived down by Sunset, by Sunset. Anyway, he would call me. We'd go hang out, whatever. He would call me at like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning and try his jokes out on me. And I'm laying in bed, and you're right, Jim. He was a funny guy. He was a funny guy. I mean, I went to see him live a couple of times. God rest his soul. Anyway, well, honestly, Jim, I have a job, and my job is to um, take care of my wife
Yep.
and my daughter, and make sure or try as best I can to get my daughter on the LPGA tour.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's what I am. That's one of the big reasons that I'm here. We moved to
Wow.
Florida for that. I was and I came off a series in 2016 on Nick at Night that I did for 3 years.
Was that
Uh,
the
See
See
Dad
Dad
Run.
Run?
Yeah,
Yes,
which was fun. And I went and spoke at the Republican convention for Trump in 2016.
right.
And he asked me personally, and in that moment, I knew that I was going to do it, and I knew that I'd be canceled, and I didn't care. And
That was the big moment I remember
yeah,
with you.
and that's what. So what motivates me now? Wow. I honestly, I'm in that place in life where I'm just, going with the breeze. And if
Yes.
I had a movie come out called God's Not Dead. There's a series of those movies, and I did the fifth one, I think.
Yeah.
God's
Yeah.
Not Dead and God We Trust, which was with a friend of mine, David White, David A.R. White. There's two guys,
Yeah.
and I enjoyed it immensely. It was a great production. So honestly, Jim, I don't know what motivate. Right now, I have no motivation really. I have a podcast that I do with two buddies of mine, and everything's been put on the back burner since we moved here because we had a house and we had to move in and stuff and boxes and hurricane and on and on and on. So we've been kind of in limbo. But something will pop, and if nothing pops, I'll be 65 friggin' years old in September.
That's the new 30.
How?
I know what you mean.
No, but
Bro.
how much runway is left for me? Seriously, I'm not want to be depressing. Okay. If I get 15 good years, I'll be 80. 80. It's nuts.
That's what I tell my friends right now. You're right. That's what I tell my friends right now. I go, listen to me. I'm only 58. If we're lucky, we have 15 years of
good life.
Exactly. One little, oh shoot, I missed one step, and I twisted the wrong way. Now I'm in physical rehab. Yes, I'm in physical therapy, and everyone in there is 80 and over, and now I'm getting depressed. And now that's setting me back. I've lost a half a year. Is anything goes at this point? I play pickleball. I'm out. Achilles.
Everything I do at this point in my life is a workout. Whatever it is.
Me too.
Wash my hair. If I brush my teeth, it's a workout. And every time I sit down, I go, oh, and I didn't do anything. You know what I mean? I come up the stairs to my house. I go, okay, all right. And and getting out of bed becomes a production, and it's all the things that people make fun of, and you would hear about it, and you go, that's a bunch of crap, and here I am. Right?
Here you are. Well, I can relate to where you're at, and I won't keep you on much longer.
Keep me on as long as you want. I got nothing to do. Go ahead.
Okay, good. All right, good. I'm at that same stage. Like, even, I was touring doing stand up, and I'm tired.
By the way, that is singularly the hardest job in show business. That I want to hear what you have to say, but I got asked to host an evening at the Improv. Do you remember that?
Oh God, yes.
I hosted it.
Wow.
I think I introduced. Oh God, David
Brenner.
blonde hair.
Oh, blonde.
David.
Yeah,
David. He was
so
in.
You like?
He was in Tommy Boy. Tommy.
David Spade.
David Spade. I think that's how long it was. I think I introduced him. He was a new guy. I think it was him.
Wow.
Anyway, I was so petrified and I bombed. But anyway, I will never do it again. But go ahead. Go ahead. They wrote jokes for me. It's hard.
No. So, but I'm at that point too where I'm like, my stand-up was always about family and what I was going through in life. But the last couple of years, I shifted into, I don't call it politics. I always called it common sense, which I thought was interesting. That's the new battle cry. But from day one, I was saying, I'm not doing politics. I'm doing common sense. Common sense tells you X, Y, Z. And I had so much to say, and I didn't care about anyone going, you were funny when, now you're a piece of guy. I didn't care, because I just knew, what I was saying was on the right path. I don't care what anyone said. And now I'm at the point where, like, I don't have the desire to say anything right now or to make people funny. And I found myself going, I don't know what I want to do. I think I just want to go live in Italy for like a month and just pick let's Airbnb there and see how life turns out. Or I know it's crazy, but I'm a safari buff. I've been on I travel all over Africa. Okay. I want to keep doing that. But the reason why I talked about the entertainment side, there's this whole new energy coming, looking for people that have been, quote, canceled. And there's, they're all coming out of the woodwork going, hey, we've got, $20 million and we're looking to start making movies and television and this and that and that. But this is the first time in my life where I don't care, and I just started working on a project. But it's fascinating, Scott, because in the past I'd go, okay, this has got to make it to here. Where now I'm like, if it becomes a script, great. And if the script, it becomes from there to there, okay, good. If we go on the set and everyone's cool and blah, 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 great. I don't care, but I think that's an incredible place to be. So I'm working on a thing called gene therapy, which is my good friend Gene. And if you have an issue and you want Gene to give you his way of therapy, gene therapy. Send in your voicemail. Just go to jimbrewer.com, and then we know if you made it that far, you really wanted to hear some therapy. Should be good. We'll let you know when we're ready to roll with that. Gene therapy. Send in your concerns or where you need help.
Keep the show rolling. Don't let me know that something's bad, because I pick up on that right away. Oh no, we're going down, and it'll look good.
I know you're all behind your daughter right now, which is absolutely incredible. So is she in the PGA? Excuse me for not knowing.
No. She's in high school.
But she's competing.
She
To
competes.
explain that to me, I don't know that world.
She goes to an academy here that is a sports academy, and she goes to school in the morning and then trains all day in golf. She works out 3 days a week in the gym, and then there's several different tours. There's the Hurricane Tour, there's the Under Armour Tour, there's the Florida Tour, and you sign up for these different tournaments.
Right.
And your scores are logged in with a company that keeps everybody's scores, and so then she's at the age now where colleges are starting to contact us and things like that, and so it's actually kind of a full-time job, because you have to book these. My wife books all these tournaments. God love her, because I could never.
Yeah, right.
It's so damn tedious, and I just don't have. I'm not a minutia guy. I'm a macro guy. I'm not micro. I could do this. I can't do this.
Yes,
drives me crazy. And so
same way.
My wife, what color you want to paint the wall? I don't care. The house is standing. I don't care. Whatever you want. So then you got to travel with her, right? You got to travel, and you go all over Florida. You go to St. Augustine. You go up north. And it's a job, and that's what we do. And it's that thing where it's so hard to watch. And I just, you sit there and and I don't go anymore. She won't allow me to go anymore because I get crazy. And, every time she swings the club, you go, okay. Oh, and okay, it's a good shot. Or, it's a bad shot. You go, and then she looks over at me and she gets pissed off.
Right.
So it's tough. It is, Jim. I've done a lot of work in my life. Raising my daughter is the most unbelievably difficult thing I have ever done. I mean, it's just like every day I'm going, did I ruin her life today? What did I say to her? And I go to bed thinking, okay, what did I say? What did I say today? How did I wreck her? How did I make her go off it's all that. And finally, one day something happened with her, and I'm going off here on a tangent. Excuse me.
Yeah, I love it.
It was one of the great moments of my life. Something happened. I hurt her feelings on the golf course, blah, blah, blah. And she gets in the car, and this is a couple of years ago. She gets in the car and she's crying. And when your daughter cries and it's your fault, it is, I want to jump off a bridge.
Yeah.
So I said, look, I have to tell you something. Being your dad is the hardest thing I have ever done in my life. And I want you to know that 90% of the time, I'm just guessing. I don't know what the right thing to do or say is. I guess. Sometimes I guess right. Sometimes I guess wrong. Today I guessed wrong. Believe me, I don't want to hurt you, but help. It's a game, and I keep guessing. So, and she kind of understood that, and I hope that she takes that with her when I die. So,
well, that's interesting. Now I got 3 of them.
Girls?
So now they're yes.
How old?
25, 22, and the youngest one just turned 20. So I was in your I was in your thick of it, and that's another thing. I'm worn out. I'm worn out. I'm worn out. I'm tired.
I get it. I get it.
And plus elderly parents that I took care of. Like I'm tired. I'm done. I'm
That's a
tired.
lot.
I'm tired. I will say this: what I discovered, and as I get older, I'm starting to understand a lot of things that we do and that we set an example for as a parent or as a dad. It may not be respected until long after we're gone.
Right. Right.
So I mean, all we could do, and I'm starting to now get like my oldest one, and even the youngest one is now starting to reach out to me, because your daughter's still always in your life. The minute she starts space with you and your mom, wherever she goes, where you're not going to see her as much, they have more time to be home alone, start reflecting, start comparing all other parents and roommates, like, oh, your parents are kind of assholes, and oh wow, your parents are not like mine. And it always works out. But to your point, because I don't know you from a hole in the wall. I just know I'm going to go out on a limb and say you do the absolute best you can as a dad and a husband. It is hands down the hardest thing to do in anyone's lifetime. I can't take a man seriously, and no disrespect to anyone listening.
Unless they have a kid.
Yeah, unless they have a kid. I can't take you're not a man. I get it. You can dunk a ball. I get it. You're a CEO. I get it. You make $1 million. You're not a man. You don't know what a real struggle is.
It's
You
funny.
have zero struggle what it's like to be parked in an alley with your mouth wide open in the dark with a primal cry questioning your existence and if you're doing anything right. I'm talking when you're just oh my God. And then you throw a wife on top of that? Please, God.
Wait, did you say wife or life?
I wife. And you throw a wife on top of that?
Yeah. It's hard.
Ooh,
Wow. It's
yeah.
I've realized that they are infinitely stronger than us. Women. I mean, it's not even close.
Well, I learned over the years it's psychological. They are born as psychological warfare
warriors.
They're specialists. They come straight out of the womb as CIA terrorists that know how to twist and twine, control your energy, move it in this direction.
That's funny. It's very funny. It's true.
But it's true. It's really true. Well, I hope we cross paths. I'm going to take if I'm heading up to Sarasota and I'm playing up there, I'll be working out eventually. I'll reach out. Are
you East Coast?
I'm West Coast, brother. I'm just south of you. I'm Naples.
Oh, okay. Well, it's still a trip. It's a trip to Naples.
It's 2 hours. It's 2 hours. It's 2 hours. So you got where you are. I almost moved to where you are. I almost moved. There's a great comedy club there. McCurdy's comedy.
Somebody else just mentioned that to me. Okay.
It's a great. He's hilarious. He's been there for 30 years. Scott, it's good to see you. He sounds like he's from Tennessee. It's you know what it is? It's a mom and pop shop of comedians, and he's had everyone that's become a star has gone through it. So yeah, there's some cool places there. If that whole south, the whole coast that you're on is really drop dead gorgeous. From there all the way down to Naples, Marco Island, and then some. So
yeah, okay. Well, we'll get together.
Yeah, I look forward to it. If you come down my way, please reach out. And on the way up there, best of luck with I hope all things work out. Your daughter, I'm sure they will. And try not to pull a muscle or anything in the meantime. And I got to say,
I'm having a good time watching the news every day, so I'm okay.
Now, how do you feel? I assuming you're see, I'm deep conspiracy guy. And what I mean by that, Scott, is I have a whole theory that you probably laugh in my face about, but I don't believe Joe Biden was Joe Biden, and you don't have to elaborate on any of this. I believe we had to go through a psychological uh I'll call it awakening to see how corrupt, how insane that I don't even know how to say that way of thinking. I don't want to piss people off because everyone likes to say they're a this or they're a that, and I'm a this and I'm a that, and they define themselves. But I hands down, if voting really does exist, there's no way Trump lost in 2020. That's Jim Breuer is saying that, and I've said it a million times before. And I think I'm praying to God we're in an incredible place. I think we are. I'm pretty confident about everyone in place.
So,
but I'm also one of the what were you gonna say?
So you're telling me Joe Biden was what?
I don't know if it was. I don't know if it was a mask. I don't know if
who was under it. Who was under the mask? I'm not saying you're crazy. My wife told me the same thing. My brother says, "Look at his ears. Look at his hair. Look at this." And I'm like, I'm at the point in my life where I don't believe or not. What am I trying to say? Anything is possible. Anything's possible.
That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at.
And to back up what you said, I'll go another level to it in that Trump, I believe in divine intervention.
Mm-hmm.
I think Trump the first time was divine intervention, whatever that might be. He lost. However he lost, doesn't matter, whatever. Lost so that, and because he was there, and then he wasn't, it exposed all the corruption, exposed everything, how bad it is. And that's why and again, maybe divine intervention to show us, Jesus, this place is a blanket disaster.
100%.
Whoa. And then he comes back. By the way, I'm going to say, have you ever met him?
I've never met him. I was at Mar-a-Lago for a different event. He was there. He said some words, but I never said hello,
All right. I'm going to say something. It might be a joke. I don't think he's fully human. I think there's something else to that guy. I mean that. Because to do what he does every day and to have the recall of you could ask him, what did you think of the left tackle on the Kansas City Chiefs during the Super Bowl? He'll tell you his name, give you his stats, and tell you what he thought of in the game. And I don't know anybody on the planet that can do what this guy does. He's got so much. And so he lost to show us, and then he came back. And I don't even think Kamala Harris, she might be a nice lady.
I don't know about that.
I mean, I don't know, because my wife said I met her once. I don't remember.
Yeah.
That was embarrassing.
It was weird.
It was embarrassing. I felt bad for her, but I didn't want to feel bad for her. She just couldn't answer a question. Strange.
It was bizarre. It was very bizarre. And the thing that would drive me nuts is, how do you? I have so many theories because it was so absurd. It was so absurd. I felt like it was constantly insulting your intelligence. Yeah. But what I thought the brilliance of, I'll call it the dark side, and I'm not saying a political party is the dark side. I'm saying whoever put on that show of Biden and whatever was going, the transgender and the blah, 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 whoever was promoting that entire show uh, I've never in my lifetime. What people don't realize is if I'm in, and I try to do it stand up. If I'm living in Turkey, Istanbul, if I'm living in Tokyo, and I watched America the last 4 years and what they were debating and pushing and selling and him trying to speak, I would have thought we were either a fake sitcom or this was the end of the world as we
Yeah,
know it.
I think it was that. It was that. I think it was design, by design. I really do.
100%.
Yeah, it was
It
by
doesn't
design.
make sense.
Whomever they are.
Yeah, and I tell people this behind closed doors, and I don't care anymore. I just don't care anymore whether people get mad or whatever. They're just theories. And see, I grew up, I never was, and still not into politics. I don't believe in politics. I just believe in what is right, what is wrong. And when he first came on the scene, this is what I tell people, whether you hate him or not, it doesn't matter. If you think of it like, I always think gangster, I always think like mobster mentality, because where I grew up and around the people. I always imagined before he even ran, it was, we got to take this empire down and bring it and build it back up the way it's supposed to be. Well, how do we do that? Well, we got to take out the families. Well, how are you going to do that? What families are we talking about? And whether anyone agrees with this or not, the things that control our societies is entertainment, all entertainment, music, movies, television, and all media, magazines, but all media, all entertainment. I believe, like sitting behind closed doors, they said, this is what we got to do. We got to take out all the media, and we got to take out all of entertainment. We got to expose all of entertainment. And I just, why are we crazy? How are you going to do that? And it was just, we got no choice. So let's start figuring. And if you think of it at that angle, he came out, and whether you agreed with him or not, which I did, because I've believed this theory since I was 30 years old. What controls everything? He came out, fake news, you're fake news, you're fake, you're nobody, you're fake, you're a liar, you're a nobody, not such a great actor. I don't think they're a good actor. Personally, I think you're overrated. And to say that about the elite of, you don't say that about this actress, and you don't say that about this actor. How dare you? And to hit the biggest media markets. But what that did, and as I tell everyone, whether you believe it or not, a tree that was planted with roots for hundreds, if not thousands of years, started wobbling back and forth. And people started going, hey, did you see that ABC just lied? They got caught in a lie. Hey, did you see that? Oh my God, oh my God, they're all saying the same thing. And people started seeing it. And it didn't matter if you hated him or loved him. And then you started with the actors. And then the actors started coming. Oh, sex scandals and more sex scandals and trafficking. And now here we are, since 2016, almost 10 years later, an establishment that has controlled the masses for so long. This past, whether you're, and I tell people, whether you're for Trump or not, what I think is so beautiful, everyone turned away from all media. They pushed hard. They sold every single panel they could to take him down. And so did the biggest, quote, celebrities, whether they were sports stars or pop stars or actors. everyone turned their back on this one that has 50 million followers because, and when you started doing your podcast, the Rogans and you know even the Schultzes and whoever started to, and the groundwork of the Charlie Kirks and all this groundwork was from people, regular people. I don't have political ties. I really don't. But this is the first time where I feel in history that tree is pretty much dead. The media tree is as dead as it can get.
Yeah, it's
And
pretty
now
neat.
and Hollywood is in very serious trouble. Very serious trouble. No one is your, like, I can't look at this is just me. I can't look at Will Smith seriously anymore. I can't even look at De Niro anymore. I can't look at a lot of these guys anymore. These were heroes of mine. I can't even look at them. Not even
I
I
get
just
it.
can't look at I can't take him seriously. I
No, I
can't
get
even
it.
so if not for Trump, this may never ever
Of
have
course not.
been
No.
where we're at in this time. And this
No.
is what people don't understand. It is, again, whether maybe he's from another world, I don't know. And just like you said, what has he been in there? How many days? Not even a month. He's talking every single day
I
to the
know.
press. Every day. And not for nothing, Scott. I know, obviously, probably I could talk to your wife more about this stuff. It sounds like you go outside, look at the sky. I don't know if it's USA that's been cut, but I've been living in Florida for a couple of years, and I went to my friend in Michigan, and I started learning about chemtrails, the lines in the
Yeah.
sky. I don't know what it's like in Sarasota, but here in Naples, it's been about, since U.S. aid, I just figured it out, since that got killed, the skies are clear and the clouds are when clouds do come, they're fluffy. They're not these weird, weird, straight, bizarre looking clouds that I've seen over the last 4 years. And I'm telling my friends, they're chemtrailing. Look at all the lines in the sky. They're creating clouds. They're creating all this. So
Look, I can't discount anything you're saying. I can argue it, but what's the point in it? Because I would say, well, you might be right. You might be right. I mean, I don't, we haven't had a hurricane like that in 100 years or whatever it is, 2 in a row. My brother told me about cloud seeding. And I
yep.
went, that's something out of a 1950s comic book, but because I don't think I am an American and I think of things as an American, that we are what we are, and we would never do anything like that. So my brother tells me all these, my older brother, and I go, well, maybe he's right. Maybe I don't, what do I know? Maybe I'm just some, regular guy walking around, and those clouds do look kind of funky. What the hell's going on up there? So listen, it could be all those things. And the thing, see, the thing you said about, we said about I don't know what he's made of. I don't know what he's made of. He could be an extraterrestrial. I don't know. And this is
I'm open to everything at this point.
Yeah,
I really am.
But I can tell you that when he first came out in 15 or 16, whenever it was, I thought there's no way. There's no
Same.
way. And my wife was like, no, he's the guy. I said, honey, please. So we go to the first debate at the Reagan Library, and there's like 60 guys, right? Whoever the hell was there. It was like 20, whatever.
Yeah.
And Jim, I watched him for 2 hours beat the living crap out of everybody on that stage, and I went, that's the guy. That's the guy.
That's
I
what
want
I saw.
that's the guy that I want, because he talks like me. He makes fun of people like me. He talks like everybody else. And what you said earlier, about you're horrible and you're fake news and you're this and you're that. And they're calling me a cult for believing this guy. No, I believe this my whole life. I believe what he's saying my whole life. He's the first guy to come along and tell me to my face what I'm thinking. And I'm like, okay, this is the guy. And then on top of that, I always, George W. Bush, I don't know what the hell he was, now I think about him, I go, But I always wanted a president, woman, guy, where other countries would go, wait a minute, what do you think? What do you think Trump is going to do? What do you think they're going to do over there? Well, no, don't do anything yet, but let me figure out what this guy's going to do because he's liable to drop some heavy stuff on us. So don't do anything. And that's the guy who you think, other countries, and Trump even said, he says, I'm a little bit crazy. And I want a little bit crazy in the White House. That's what I want.
Me too.
So that's our guy, and happy about it. And I watch the news because I like to see. It's just hires. He's wearing everybody out. It's beautiful, but anyway.
It is beautiful. I also think of it as he may have been. I think this sometimes. These are just like little theories. I'm like, he may have been a Donnie Brasco, meaning he's been around so long and he's been in their game, but not in the political game, but in their game. So he knew all their dirty moves. He knew all their dirty tactics. He knew all the vicious things they were capable of doing and how they did it. And now, because when he first said, hey, I'm running, to me, one of the greatest, I'm with you. When he said, all my friends like, you got to look at Trump, went, please. The guy from The Apprentice, America's now going to be a reality show. Oh, my God. Please. Oh, my God. We're an embarrassment. I was so embarrassed. I couldn't even talk about it. And all my friends, will you watch him debate? And just like you said, I saw that first debate when he called out Jeb Bush. And he said, that's okay. You could boo because I know you paid for everyone in here. And it's the first time where you saw his face. Jeb Bush's face was like, whoa, hey, you can't let that secret out. This is the general public's not allowed to know about this. And that's the first thing that caught my attention. And then he did a roast with Hillary Clinton.
Saw it.
That was such a gangster mafia. He stood there and it was the Haiti line, which now is coming out.
Right.
It's now a fact. And he just looked at her and he's like, I think he said something like, Hillary says it takes a village and she should know. I don't know the exact words, like because of Haiti. And you saw her face from to,
he doesn't care. He doesn't care.
That's a
gangster. That's a straight up gang. The funniest thing he ever said, and I don't know if it was the one I was at or heard it, was going back and forth with Jeb Bush, and they asked Jeb Bush about his mother, and Jeb Bush said, my mother's the toughest woman I know, and Trump said, well, maybe she should run.
My mom is the strongest woman I know.
She should be running.
This is not about
I lost my mind, and I went, okay, this guy's my hero. And then he made fun of the little billionaire, the mayor of New York.
Bloomberg.
When he went down below the podium,
he's going, oh, get me off of this stage. Get me off. Get me off of this stage.
Anyway, I love the guy and fun stuff. So I enjoy
It's New
watching. It's like
York.
watching the comedy. And one more thing.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I really believe this. Of all the things he does, I think his greatest weapon is his sense of humor
Oh, hands down.
because he
Hands
kills it.
down. And well, again, we had to go through the process because guys like you and guys like me, the regular people laughed our asses off when he first came along because
Yep.
he said everything that we felt.
Right.
And I racist and he's this and but their battle cry is he's not presidential.
Yeah, I don't
He
care.
doesn't speak presidential, which
Fine.
I think what that exposed is how long you've been conditioned
Right.
to get suckered by a professional car salesman. You know, when you're being sold, well, Obama speaks well. Think of how ignorant you sound by saying that. Well, the guy that sold me fake insurance, he certainly spoke well, so I trusted him. Think of the ignorance of that statement. But I think this entire nation had to go through that, where now they're seeing everything for what it is, and we're going to see more and more for what it is. So hopefully, God bless. Scott, it is a pleasure talking to you. I hope to connect you soon. It was an absolute pleasure, man. Good
My
hanging
pleasure,
out.
Jim. And we'll
think,
see. Go ahead.
Yeah. Now, I was going to say, I think I want to talk to your brother. The idea I need to talk to brother. I think me and him can talk for hours.
You want to talk to my wife.
I'll talk to your wife.
That's who you want to talk to.
I think
she's
Mrs.
no
Baio.
BS.
Oh, I think Mrs. Baio and I can really talk about some serious subjects, and we'll have you on the panel just reacting, going, I don't know what you guys are talking about.
That's fine. Okay, done. All right, man.
Well,
thank you, Jim.
All the best to your family. Take care, Scott.
Thanks, Margot. Bye, guys.
Scott Baio, everybody. I love it. I love to see he's everyone I grew up with. He's everybody I grew up with. Just trying to do the right thing, get by in life, family, just a good human being. I love that he had no clue about some of this stuff. And I love that he's like, wow, my brother says that about what makes you say that about Biden? And it's funny because I still say that. I know you can say whatever you want about me. I don't care what anyone says. That's not. I don't buy for 1 second that was Joe Biden ever in the White House. I don't know what that was. I don't know. Guy in a mask, AI. I don't know what we went through, but we're definitely going to look back at that time and go, that was, wow, we were debating and protesting if it was okay for a man to be in a female bathroom. And we were debating whether it was okay to dance in a sexual, provocative way in front of children. And people argued for it. That's it was all very well manufactured. And maybe hey, do me a favor. Wherever you live, can you look up in the sky and just leave messages? Do you see chemtrails? The chemtrails are the lines. Like, for instance, I pointed out my father-in-law's in town. I pointed out to my father-in-law there was a plane way up in the sky, and it was leaving a little bit of a white line. However, it did what it's supposed to do. It immediately vanished. I'm talking about those white lines that go across the sky and they stay there. Chemtrails. And anyone that's, either you're ignorant to look into it, or you're on the other side and you know something and you want to keep it going. I just don't buy. If you don't believe in it, I don't know how to help you. I have videos. I even posted when I was in Michigan. I saw the clear blue sky and they started chemtrailing all over the place. This was 2 summers ago. But here in Naples, Florida, it's ever since the U.S. aid has been cut, and I'm not saying that's what it is. I find it fascinating that we've had nothing but clear blue skies. And when the clouds come in, they're the regular, thick, rolling clouds. They're not these weird. I'll post some pictures that I have of clouds, and you're like, what? They're bizarre looking. They're beautiful, but they're bizarre. Like swirls and super thick. Hopefully, humanity's off to a great direction, and people waking up continue. All right, I want to thank Scott Baio for coming on today into the Breuniverse. And don't forget, I've one show this year, just one, with Joe Sib and Rich Aronovich at Off the Hook Comedy Club in Naples, Florida. That's March 31st. It's going to sell out if it's not sold out already. March 31st at Off the Hook Comedy Club. Just go to jimbreuer.com and get your tickets while I continue working on stuff over here. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll catch up with you soon on the Breuniverse. Good day, all. Be safe and enjoy life.
Take a look